Good evening. This meeting of the Tomball ISD Board of Trustees is called to order at 5:43 p.m. Central Time. We are gathered in the John P. Neubauer Administration Building on Cherry Street in Tomball, Texas. For the record, a quorum of the board is present. All the trustees are in attendance tonight. This meeting is being recorded in accordance with Government Code Section 551.128. We would like to welcome those in attendance tonight, as well as those that are viewing online. The Board of Trustees' role is to set goals. We review reports, we approve budgets, contracts, and personnel appointments, and establish policies for this district. It is the superintendent's role and responsibility to handle the day-to-day operations of this district. Policies and procedures are in place to address any concerns. This is a business meeting of the Board of Trustees that is open to the public. However, it is not a meeting of the public. Public participation is limited to designated times during the meeting for citizen comment for those that have registered to speak in accordance with the board operating procedures. We ask for your cooperation, ensuring that the meeting runs in an orderly manner. Board members have received items related to tonight's agenda and have had the opportunity in Monday night's workshop, last night's meeting, to ask questions of the superintendent related to those agenda items. Items on the agenda for tonight's meeting may not be handled in the order of the agenda. Additionally, if the board determines at any point during the meeting that it needs to convene in an executive session, the board will do so in accordance with sections 551.071 through 551.084 of the Texas Government Code. Opening remarks this evening will be by Mrs. Salem. Pledges will be Mr. McStravick, and the mission statement will be Mrs. Bass. And so I'd like to turn the meeting over to Ms. Salem for opening remarks.
I'll be saying a prayer for my opening statement. If you'd like to join me, please bow your head. Dear Lord, thank you so much for loving us, and we are so unworthy of your precious gift of Jesus. Lord, please give us ears to hear and soften hardened hearts. Lord, give us the wisdom to make the best decisions for Tomball ISD. I also ask for your hands of protection to be upon all of us and our staff and students, and please keep them safe this summer. Thank you for all your blessings in your precious name. Amen.
If you'll join me with a pledge to the flag, American flag, and then follow that with the pledge to the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee,
Texas, one
state under God, one indivisible.
The Tomball ISD mission statement is Tomball ISD empowers students to become impactful, contributing citizens by providing innovative, individually rigorous, and personally valuable educational experiences while partnering with the community.
Mrs. Salem, Mr. McStravick, Mrs. Bass, thank you very much. Board, we do not have public comments on agenda items this evening, so we're going to get right to it. On the consent agenda, we will now proceed forward. Do I have a motion regarding the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Mr. Lewandowski, seconded by Mr. White. Do any board members have additional questions of the superintendent regarding this item before I open the floor for discussion? Hearing none, is there any discussion by the board for the board? A motion has been made and it has been seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Stepping forward into the considered agenda, item A, accept or reject option number 2 of RFP 980-24/26, property and crime insurance proposed by TASB Risk Management. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion was made by Mrs. Salem, a second was made by Bass. Do any board members have additional questions of the superintendent regarding this item before we open it up for discussion?
We need to be clear whether we accept or reject.
That's a fair point. We actually, technically, we don't have a motion. We need to be more specific. Okay. So do I have a motion identifying accept or reject option number 2?
I make a motion to accept option number 2.
Thank
So
you.
is that in the form of an amendment?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, so there has been an amendment to this motion proposed. The motion was made by Mrs. Salem. It was seconded by Mr. McStravick. I'd now like to vote on the amended motion, which is to accept option number 2 of the RFP.
I think really you're voting on the amendment, just to change the word to, instead of accept or reject, to be accept.
Okay?
Just the amendment for now.
So we're voting on the change.
Only, yeah.
Okay. All those in favor of the amended motion to accept option number 2, please signify by raising your hand. Okay. The amended motion carries.
The amendment carries.
The amendment carries.
Yeah, now you're on the amended motion.
Okay. Okay, moving forward to item B.
No.
Actually, hold on a second. Let's confirm where we are. So we have just had 7 members vote unanimously to
Amend.
accept the
Amendment.
amendment. Okay, so we've got that. Now we need to vote on
Yes, sir.
the amended motion.
Correct.
Okay.
So the amended motion is to accept option number 2 of RFP 980.
So is that a motion, Ms. Salem?
Yes, I
Okay.
motion
Is there a
that we-
second?
I don't think you need the second, but you've already got that. So I think all you got now is just the
Vote.
main motions that's on the floor is to accept option 2.
Okay,
Okay, so that's where we go with discussion, is to accept option 2.
fair point. So are there any questions for the superintendent at this time? Okay, any discussion for the board, by the board?
Sorry, yes, I saw other lights, so
Oh,
I
go
was
ahead.
waiting.
Go ahead.
The provider we're considering, or the pool, is there, usually when I go out and buy something, I look at reviews, right? Customer service review, happy other customers. Do we have anything like, I didn't get it, I don't remember if this is a new thing, a new provider, this risk pool, or is this a brand new thing, or is there reviews?
No, the partner basically is TASB, Texas Association of School Boards. This is a strand, one of the many things that they're involved in, and we have been in collaboration and partnership with them in many ways. Mr. Bowles, would you like to share regarding this particular?
So historically, Tomball ISD has carried automobile insurance with TASB, and I believe that's been the case for roughly 20
Several
years. And so while entering into property insurance with TASB is new for the district, it is not a new service that they're providing to districts across the state of Texas. And in fact, they hold contracts with our neighbors just to the north in Magnolia.
And a large part of that is because they're able to negotiate rates that perhaps we couldn't get singularly. And so it's a way to save taxpayers dollars in the end. I'm grateful that the team continues to find ways to do that. Thank you.
Wasn't there a rubric that existed that not only evaluated the quality of services as well as the fit of whether or not the provider could meet the service and needs of the district?
Yes, sir.
Wasn't that part of the rubric? So
Yes.
in that, there was an evaluation of, does this provider meet the needs of the district?
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so the only thing I'll say is
Light, your light.
I appreciate your team working on this and continuously looking at it. The property casualty area has had crazy things go on since, I guess, in the past 3, 4, or 5 years. So I appreciate y'all continuously looking at that, trying to find policies that will work for us, both from the standpoint of premium and deductions or deductible and coverage amounts. So appreciate that.
Thank you. We'll continue to do that, and you are correct. It's a very busy time, and the rates are, can be challenging. So we'll continue to monitor this and always do what's best for our district overall.
Ms. Salem?
Oh, I think it's good to, I'm glad to see us, we're stepping away from being self-insured and going towards having a risk management policy. But 3 years ago when we went to self-insured, the deductible was insane, and this is very doable. And so I think it's a good use of district funds and to be wise, especially with the weather being crazy like it has been here the last couple of years.
I agree. Thank you for that.
Okay, if no other questions for the superintendent, any discussion by the board for the board on this item? Okay, a motion has been made and it has been seconded. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries unanimous. Okay, I'm glad we got through item A. Item B, approve a contract with Clear Hope Counseling and Wellness for the term of July 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025 in the amount of $100,000 using the Tomball Regional Health Foundation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion was made by Mr. White, seconded by Mrs. Bass. Do any board members have additional questions for the superintendent regarding this item before we open up for discussion? Hearing none, is there any discussion for the board by the board?
So, Mr. President, I believe there's a typo in the actual amendment, or in the actual motion, so I'm just going to go ahead and move to amend that 100,000. Right now, it looks like 100,00.00. So I'm amending the motion to be 100,000, so that the full motion would read, approve a contract with Clear Hope Counseling and Wellness for the term July 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025 in the amount of $100,000, open paren, $100,000, close paren, using the Tomball Regional Health Foundation grant.
I second that motion.
A motion was made by Mr. McStravick and seconded by Mrs. Salem to amend the agenda item. Okay. So, any discussion on the amendment to this item? Okay. All those in favor of the motion to amend the agenda item, please signify by raising your hand. Okay. The amended motion carries.
The amendment.
The amendment carries. Okay, so the amended motion now on the floor is to approve a contract with Clear Hope Counseling and Wellness for the term of July 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025 in the amount of $100,000 using the Tomball Regional Health Foundation. Do any board members have additional questions of the superintendent regarding this item before we open it up for further discussion? Hearing none, is there any discussion by the board for the board?
So I'm just going to jump in again and give kudos out to Tomball Regional Health Foundation. They've been such a great partner for us. Really appreciate what they've been able to do as far as grants across the school district. So just another shout out to them for another area where they've provided some great assistance to the school district.
Okay, if no other discussion, the amended motion has been made and has been seconded. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item C, approve the recommendation to select Lockwood, Andrews, and Newman Incorporated under RFQ number 988-25 to serve as the construction manager-agent/project manager for Bond 2025 projects and authorize the Chief Financial Officer, CFO, to finalize contract negotiations. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second
and I'm
it.
looking. Okay, thank you. A motion was made by Mrs. Salem, seconded by Mr. McStravick. Do any board members have additional items or questions for the superintendent regarding this item? Okay. Hearing none, is there any discussion by the board for the board?
So, Mr. President, again, I think there's a clarification that needs to be made because there was a misspelling in the name. Instead of, it shows up as Newman, and instead it should be Newnan. So I'm going to, at this time, move to amend the motion to strike Newman and put in Newnan, Newnan, so that the motion would read, approve the recommendation to select Lockwood, Andrews, and Newnan, Inc. under RFQ 988-25 to serve as the construction manager, agent, project manager for Bond 2025 projects and authorize the CFO to finalize contract negotiations.
Okay, a motion was made by Mr. McStravick to amend the item. It was seconded by Mr. Lewandowski. And so is there any discussion for that particular amendment, adjustment? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion to amend the agenda item, please signify by raising your right hand. Thank you. Okay, motion to amend this item carries unanimously. The amended motion now on the floor is to approve the recommendation to select Lockwood, Andrews, and Newnan Incorporated under RFQ number 988-25 to serve as the construction manager, agent/project manager for Bond 2025 projects and authorize the CFO to finalize contract negotiations. Do any board members have additional questions of the superintendent before we open the floor for discussion? Okay, hearing none, is there any discussion by the board for the board?
So I brought this up last night, and I just want to get clarification again. So this is just, we're just approving the selection and allowing the CFO to move forward with negotiations, but any pricing will come back to the board for approval.
Yes,
correct?
sir. And that is a process that we have followed in the past.
Correct. Okay, just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm going to explain my vote. I am going to be voting no on this item. I just want to briefly explain why. My vote is based on one thing only, and that is that Lockwood, Andrews, and Newnan gave $10,000 to a political action committee that campaigned for passage of this bond that will ultimately benefit their company financially. And while I understand this is perfectly legal to do, I personally find it distasteful and believe that most of our community would also feel that way if they knew about it. In fact, it's an issue I have spoken publicly about for several years, including publication in the community impact. And so I feel at this moment I must remain true to my promises I made as to how I would vote as a school board member. And so again, my vote is for this reason and this reason alone. It has nothing to do with my confidence in the ability of this company, nor with my confidence in our staff's selection process. It's just about this particular type of political campaign donation.
Hey, Michael, can we just kind of hover here for a minute just to, I have some questions.
Go ahead, Ms. Bass.
You kind of tipped your toe in it last night and asked Zach if Dr. Z had any participation in the RFQ process, right? And Zach confirmed she did not. What we really didn't get to is kind of the elephant in the room, right? So we all know Dr. Z's husband is employed by LAN, but we also know that they have worked together with Tomball ISD on previous projects, and we've had great success, right? So it would do us a disservice to discount their work based on the fact that Dr. Z's husband works for LAN, right? Like they do a great job aside from all of that. But Dr. Z, can you tell us, and so our community knows, what is your husband's title with LAN?
He works on the business management side of LAN, and that can be in a public school setting, or that could be with higher education. However, he has no connection, never has nor will have any connection to the Tomball ISD account, because for obvious reasons, for my integrity, my husband's integrity, and the integrity of everybody on this board would never allow nor sanction anything that wasn't accurate, that wasn't lawful, that was questionable in any way. I think that's why I've remained in this district for so many years, because I've seen other boards in the past that perhaps don't have that high of a standard. And so I appreciate that question. Much has been discussed and said publicly, in writing, and I think it's an important question. It's about integrity and doing the right thing. I will always do that. My husband will always do that. We will always do that.
And I just feel like it is an asset. I don't think people realize whenever we have Mr. Wilbanks with us, it feels like he's part of the Tomball ISD team because he does know the district inside and out I just feel like there is such a cost advantage even there, just not reinventing the wheel with another company, aside from the fact that on the rubric that we received in the board book that they scored the highest point-wise according to the state, what the state has you rank them on. Is that correct, Zach?
That's correct. Yes, they scored the highest in our rubric through our evaluation team.
Okay. Okay.
Dr. Z, just want to clarify. So knowing that your husband works for LAN, do he receive any bonuses directly from the contracts or business with TISD?
No, my husband does not receive any compensation for any work, any contract, anything through TISD because of our continued work with TISD, prior, current, because he has no connection to this district and the work that we do. There's no financial benefit to my husband, myself, because of this contract. Never has been, never will be. I appreciate your question.
I have a quick question. How long has the district had a working relationship with land? When did we enter into Zach, when did we enter into that?
So it started with bond 2017, so I believe that contract would have taken effect, if not very late in 2017, the early 2018.
So we've had a long history with land.
That's correct.
And then when did Emilio start working with land?
2023, January of 2023.
So we had been working with land long
many
before
years.
he got on board with land.
Correct.
And did he have to sign conflict of interest paperwork with land concerning us?
Absolutely.
And you have also signed
Absolutely.
the same paperwork for TISD?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
It's okay.
And in fact, I believe in the packet that was submitted, right, Lan actually made that disclosure. There's a statutory form that has to be in there, and that was in the packet. I remember saying that.
Yeah.
And of course, yours is online.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon, I've said this before, for educators. I mean, if you have a spouse, your spouse may be employed with a company that may do business. I remember years ago, I'll share this brief story if you don't mind. I asked an attorney when I was in HISD about this, and he said, Martha, if you're a part of this in this entity, in this department, and your husband worked for the Dell computers. The district would not stop buying Dell computers. That doesn't mean he would be the salesperson for the district or this department. If your husband worked for Exxon, we would not stop buying gasoline from this entity because of that. It's the direct connection, not the body whole of the corporation.
Well, and I think, Mr. Pratt, you're a good example of that as well, that you have a conflict of interest sign from HP in that had you not been on the board, TISD would have been one of your
That's correct. I do.
accounts, but it is not because you are on the board.
And I have no engagement in the procurement process, nor do I participate in any votes through my track record of abstaining.
One other point of note is my husband before working for LAN, worked for Renaissance, which is a company that the district has been a partner with Renaissance Learning for many, many years prior to my arrival into the district, 25 perhaps plus years. When I came to the district, he was working with Renaissance. We continued that work. Obviously, he did not have any connections. It's not uncommon, but it does seem difficult for some people to understand that. But the law is a law, and that shouldn't be difficult to understand. And no laws have ever been broken, nor will be by this superintendent, or her spouse, for that matter. Thank you.
Ms. Salem, your light's still on, just making sure
sorry.
you're good. Mr. McTravick, okay, got it.
Well, I do have one more comment. I'm sorry. I did not realize that LAN had contributed to the bond pack, but that is not something that I look at to make my decision when we are considering companies, because that's separate from doing business for the district. Because in my thinking, that they're not giving to the PAC that they're expecting to get a job. They're giving to the PAC in hopes to help pass a bond that there may be future work down the road for them. But I am sure, I have no idea how many companies and individuals gave to the PAC, but I'm sure they weren't the only one who did so. So for that, I will be voting yes for LAN. They have a proven track record in our district.
Okay, just to check where we are. We have an amended motion. It's been made, and we have had it seconded. We've had the discussion. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Ms. Cracky, I will give you the double check to make sure that you were opposed to that motion. Yes. Okay. I should have said all those opposed, please signify by raising your hand. So if you don't, okay, thank you. Okay. Item D, approve Hunton Services to perform Centravic renewal with a 7-year parts and labor warranty on chillers CH3 and CH4 at Tomball High School, totaling $396,837.05 using Bond 2025 funds. Also, approve the train service agreement, which was required for the Centravic renewal throughout the warranty period and paid in monthly payments with general funds totaling $121,216.92. Total cost of service using Choice Partners contract number 22/049MF-11 is $518,053.97 using Bond 2025 funds. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion was made by Mrs. Bass, seconded by Mr. White. Do any board members have additional questions of the superintendent regarding this item before I open the floor for discussion? Hearing none, is there any discussion by the board for the board?
Yes, I'm going to jump in again. So if you remember last night, we had some comments or discussion around this particular item, and there was some difference between Chiller 3 and Chiller 4. One was a train, one was a carrier. Anyways, I think Martha's team, Zach, they came back and gave some additional information about the contracts and what actually we will need, because we have the different manufacturers on the chillers. So to that end, Michael, I'm going to completely offer an amendment to reword this agenda item.
Okay.
The spirit's still there, but it's a little bit different because of the carrier versus train. So I believe you have a copy of the actual wording that I am suggesting.
Okay.
So that way you don't have to try and memorize it. So anyways, what I'd like to do is offer amend this motion to be restated as approve Hunting Services to perform a Centravic renewal with a 7-year parts and labor warranty on chiller CH4 and rebuild of chiller CH3 with a 5-year parts and labor warranty to be paid with bond 2025 funds totaling $396,837.05. Also approve the train service agreement, which is required throughout the warranty periods and paid in monthly payments with general funds totaling $121,216.92. Total cost of service is $518,053.97 using Choice Partners Contract number 22/049MF-11.
Okay, a motion was made by Mr. McStravick to amend the agenda item. Is there a second? A second made by Mr. Lewandowski. Is everybody tracking on John's suggestion here for this amendment? I want to pause if there's any discussion about the particular before I seek a motion to amend the agenda item.
So I think, Michael, I mean, the dollars are the same. What this amendment's doing is changing the period, the warranty period, because for the train item, you get 7 years. For the carrier item, you get 5 years. But both of them are rebuilds. They just can't do the trademark Centravic renewal on a non-train item. So we get the trademark on the train and we get a rebuild on the carrier. And it carries a little bit shorter warranty period. But the dollars are still the same. It was just some clarification.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion to amend the agenda item, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries unanimously. To amend the item. Okay, so the motion to amend the agenda item. So the amended motion now on the floor is to approve Hunting Services to perform a Centravic renewal with a 7-year parts and labor warranty on chiller CH4 and rebuild of chiller CH3 with a 5-year parts and labor warranty to be paid with bond 2025 totaling $396,837.05. Also approve the train service agreement, which is required throughout the warranty periods and paid in monthly payments with general funds totaling $121,216.92. Total cost of service is $518,053.97 using Choice Partners Contract number 22/049MF-11. Do any board members have additional questions for the superintendent before we open the floor for discussion? Hearing none, is there any discussion by the board for the board on chillers?
I'm jumping in again. So, Martha, really appreciate you and the team working on this. In the years I've been on this board, we've dealt with chillers quite a bit. I'm glad to see us going through this rebuild at Tomball High School and then having the extended warranty periods, the 7-year and the 5-year. So very happy about that. I know we did the same thing on, I guess, chillers 1 and 2
Correct.
in December. So now we'll have some, at Tomball High School, we'll have 4 chillers there that are all under
very good
warranty and in good shape going forward. And I appreciate the fact that we're using our money wisely, because complete replacement would be almost 3 times what this is.
Absolutely.
So really appreciate an eye on being effective and efficient when it comes to our bond dollars and our everyday general fund dollars.
Thank you. Kudos to our incredible team. Okay.
Okay, the amended motion has been made and it has been seconded. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item E, approve the purchase of 3 existing portables at Rose Hill Elementary School from Satellite Shelters in the amount of $254,500 using Bond 2025 funds. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion was made by Mr. McStravick, seconded by Mrs. Bass. Do any board members have additional questions of the superintendent regarding this item before we open up for discussion?
So what do we have housed in these portables at Rose Hill currently?
Zach, I think you were there most recently. Not been in those currently right now, heading into the summer months. I mean, storage,
or for-
books,
I think there's
materials.
some storage in the portables, but they are getting ready to, I believe, move some classrooms space out there for the
Correct.
next year.
Correct.
And so we're in the process of getting that space ready for the classroom use, but there has been some storage utilized.
It's not uncommon to use it as, additional storage in the summer months. So currently, to your point, I would say that plus storage, preparation for the new year.
And we don't own any portables elsewhere in the district. There's some.
Well, we own
rented-
multiple portables, as I mentioned last night. Yes, ma'am, we
There's-
do. We own
okay.
several portables. It's not uncommon to rent and then decide, okay, is this a portable that we feel that we will have multiple year needs? Let's go ahead and make the investment, back to the point that Board Member McStravick just made, as far as really just saving dollars. And if you think you're going to rent something for a period of time, is it a better investment to purchase it and save dollars down the line? So it is a pretty common practice, not just in Tomball, but in all of the districts that I've been in.
Just looking at did you get the numbers that you had asked for, Mr. McStravick?
Every board member received that today.
I didn't know if
Via
we
email.
I haven't had an opportunity to review
It just came in at like 5 o'clock. So just,
About
we
4:30.
are getting close to very full at Rose Hill. And so the question was posed, could we adjust the boundary line or the attendance zones and avoid that cost of the portables? Because it does look like we have quite a bit of capacity at West Elementary. The capacity is 1,000 students, and we have 750 going into next year. And it looks like it's really flat. It stays at 750 all throughout, and this, just doing due diligence of how could we save, this cost?
Do you want to answer those emails when they come in? Would be my response, right?
Yeah, people don't want to
From redrawing the lines after, it was published. And I'm not,
No.
it's just a very curt kind of response, but
No, I get it. You're weighing parent satisfaction or family satisfaction.
Yeah.
People don't want to be
I mean,
rezoned.
if we reflect on the experience that we had, right? I mean,
So we should make that clear that we wanting to avoid that.
Yeah.
And the people will complain about the cost and, I'm torn because
I-
it makes sense financially
Yeah.
to do this for sure. I understand that. And I understand the 2 buckets of money, and we can use bond funds and it frees up operational funds to pay our staff more and all that. I totally get that. But at the same time, looking at the bond, the way we marketed the bond, I went through the whole Proposition A today, and I didn't see anything in all the information we provided, which was wonderful. I couldn't match anything with people thinking that the money would be used to buy portables. And in general, parents don't want their kids in portables. So it's a tough decision.
So here's my simple view of this item. Strike the words Rose Hill Elementary School from this. Are we going to rent 3 portables for the next 3 years? If the answer is yes, we're actually saving money by buying this, right? Because I think the question last night was, what's the annual rent for 3 is $92,000, right? So, $92,000.
So in the third year, we'll be saving like $60-some thousand by
Saving,
purchasing.
okay, Matt, I'm relying on Tina. Tina's the accountant to help me with the math. That's how I view this. I'm not really focused on the Rose Hill piece. I do get your point. I got John's point about, hey, do we need to look at demographics? Do we have the lines wrong? I don't think 3 portables is significant enough to redraw the lines and route children to West Elementary after all those mamas have resigned and landed on where their children are going to school. So for me, this is about actually saving money as opposed to the specifics of where those portables are. So that's kind of how I took this item. So.
How much capacity in student numbers does the 3 portables give us?
It's going to give you roughly space for another 150 students.
Okay. So that avoids Rose Hill going over capacity for another several years, right? Otherwise, we would have to rezone. That's what it boils down to.
Possibly. I mean, at this point, we'll continue to monitor that, as we always do, working with our demographers, with Zonda demographics.
But we currently have those portables there.
Correct.
How many elementary schools have portables? Of the 12 elementary schools?
Many of them. Let me see. It'd be easier to say which ones don't.
There are many that do. The ones that specifically come to mind when we talk about, you have Timber Creek, I believe Timber Creek and Creekview have portables. They're temporarily leased as we work through the capacity there and the addition of the 5th grade. You have some that are owned at Tomball Elementary, owned at Wildwood, owned in different areas of the district.
Willow Creek has them.
So we have
Decker has
portables
them.
at many of our
So
campuses.
I think it's more common, I guess,
It would be
to have
easier to
them.
say
Yeah.
which ones do not.
But, Jennifer, going back to what you said, the bond language is broad enough to where we can address growth and utilize those bond dollars to help address growth. So utilizing, less than $300,000 of the bond dollars to address growth or overflow with these buildings is something that, I think that's clearly within the scope and parameter of the bond, both legally and my conscience has no problem with that myself.
But on the sheets and stuff that we were given that listed out certain things, it was more the big ticket items that were put out there, not the smaller ticket items, because to list everything would have been sheets and sheets and sheets of paper full of information.
It would be really not feasible for not just Tomball, but any school district to list every possible item for a bond of that size. We do have history of past bonds of purchasing portables. This is a request that's not out of the parameters of what we've done in the past, and clearly very legal to do.
And just because we're buying them right now, these 3 portables, and they're located at Rose Hill, doesn't mean that they have to stay at Rose Hill down the road.
No, they could easily be moved, and we have a very qualified team we've been in the moving portable business from time to time, depending on what's happening. They move them, and then, of course, there is the setup and the safety and ensuring that they aesthetically look nice. No, to your point, it's not the same as being inside a building. We understand that, but we're certainly not alone in that, particularly as a fast-growth school district.
Hey,
The
Zach-
other thing that, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Mine's
I was just going to say, the other thing is, the cost to move these portables and set them up somewhere else is is ridiculously high.
It is.
Running power, running water, all that kind of, so, moving portables is not something that, that I think is a good use of our dollars unless we have to, right? Unless we know that that need's not going to be there at a particular campus and we can actually move them off. If we think there's going to be a need in a couple of years, you're spending a bunch of money when you start moving portables from here to there if you're only going to end up moving them back in a year or two.
That is accurate.
So, but the other thing, another reason there's some cost involved in that is although maybe portables, at least by name, you think, oh, yuck, it is interesting. Number one, all of our security fencing and everything else extends into that. So that's one reason that there's additional cost when you move these portables, is because we've got to take care of those portables and bring them into the confined fenced area from a safety standpoint. But not only that, it's interesting when you talk with teachers and actually students, a lot of them love being in those portables because they're out of the main building. And there is a plus to that I've heard quite often. So
Well, with that being said, my oldest was when we moved portables in at TES, she was in one of the portables, and her class loved being out there, and because they'd get to go outside and,
You're
do
right.
different things.
Many years ago,
Yes.
I was a teacher in a portable classroom, and you can imagine my voice was a little loud, and my class did get a little loud as well. We had a very good time, and some of my fondest memories were teaching in a portable. But it's not for everyone. I understand that.
Hey, Zach, what is the use expectancy of those portables? How long can we use typically?
I don't want to misspeak. I don't have that number off the top of my head,
just
but I know
ballpark.
we've had.
Are they like, do we get 10 years out of them?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We've had portables in the district well beyond my time here. They've been
Okay.
existing. So, yes.
My
we
daughter,
get- we
too,
get
was in
quite
a
an
portable, and-
Extended amount of time out of those.
Okay, so we're getting,
yeah, how long are the ones that we use for the JROTC at Memorial? They've been there since we built that school, well, within a year or two, right?
15 years,
And they're still going.
15 years.
The ones at Tomball High for athletics was there before I was there.
You were there when you were there, John.
I don't know if that's true.
You and Mark.
I don't think portables were invented when John and Mark were in school.
Now.
Mark's older than me, okay?
Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
You did. And we're
older.
recording.
Just kidding.
It's funny.
Okay, Ms. Salem, do you have anything else?
No, sorry.
Okay. Okay, we have had a discussion, a motion's been made, and it's been seconded. So let's get to it. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Great discussion. Item F, approve the selection of Huckabee Architects under RFQ number 993-25 as the architect for the new Tomball Intermediate School, and authorize the superintendent to finalize contract negotiations using Bond 2025 funds. Do I- You beat me to it. So Mark Lewandowski has made the motion. Is there a second?
second.
Motion, we're excited about this one. And so the second was made by Mrs. Bass. Do any board members have additional questions of the superintendent regarding this item before we open the floor for discussion?
So just seeking clarity, like I did on the other item, this is to negotiate the final terms of the agreement, but any pricing will come back to the board for approval, correct?
Yes, sir. That
Thank
is
you.
correct, as we have done in the past.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for the superintendent? Okay, at this point, is there any discussion by the board for the board?
I will be voting no on this one for the same reason as I explained before. My understanding is that Huckabee Architects did donate $5,000 to the Political Action Committee, and that is what my vote is based on, for no other reason.
Let me tell you why I'm voting for this item. First, I didn't know who's contributed what to the PAC, so I think maintaining that independence has been healthy. What I saw Huckabee work with the school district on specific to the challenge we had at Creekside Park was fantastic. The the work and the tour and all that we've had recently at Tomball West also gave me assurances that Huckabee is a good choice. This is a big decision for us. Tomball Intermediate is going to be the flagship on the edge of town, but it will be the flagship that's most visible in town. And so I fundamentally believe Huckabee understands Tomball ISD and what we're trying to do at that intermediate format. And so independent of whatever their business decisions were, again, I'm indifferent. It wasn't part of any of my considerations. So for this, I will be in support of this item.
Yeah, I think I'll follow you, Michael. I too, I had no knowledge who contributed to the PAC for Bond 2025. But again, that doesn't have any bearing on my decision. I look to see what's behind someone's presentation and what the company is all about, whether it's land, whether it's Huckabee, whether it's somebody else who, it doesn't matter to me whether they contributed or not. It's what are we getting for our money? What is this community getting? And what are our kiddos getting? So to me, that's where I want to focus. I want to focus on making sure we get the best bang for our buck in Tomball ISD. And like you, I've been very impressed with Huckabee. They are great communicators. They were very helpful in looking at the Creekside issue with the intermediate. They have had a tremendous amount of discussions with the administration regarding intermediate schools and what that format needs to look like, while we try to adapt that experience to Creekside Park Junior High. So I know that they are very well versed in what we as Tomball ISD want for an intermediate school. And I too am very pleased with what's going on at West High School. So to me, I think it's based on the rubric, based on my own experience with them. I think that's the right thing to do for the community and for our kids. So that's why I'm voting yes.
Okay, if there is no other discussion, a motion has been made, it has been seconded. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. All those opposed, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. Motion carries. Item G, award request for proposal RFP number 99025/27 for athletic equipment and supplies to multiple vendors. The term of this proposal will be from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, with automatic renewals for an additional 2 years. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mrs. Salem, seconded by Mr. McStravick. Do any board members have additional questions for the superintendent regarding this item before I open the floor for discussion? Hearing none, is there any discussion by the board for the board? Hearing none, a motion has been made and it has been seconded. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item H, approve contract with Great Expectations for the 2025-2026 school year not to exceed $272,500 using local and federal funds. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion was made by Mr. McStravick, seconded by Mr. White. Do any board members have additional questions of the superintendent regarding this item before we open the floor for discussion?
Yeah, so I realized looking closer today, this is actually for a summer institute being held here at Grand Oaks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if I could attend any portion of it just to learn more about Great Expectations.
I will visit with Great Expectations and the coaches, and we'll see what can be arranged. There's a lot of moving parts to that, and we generally don't have visitors, but we'll see what we can do to give you a preview.
Okay, I just would like to know more about it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, if no other questions for the superintendent, any discussion by the board for the board?
So I'll jump in again. So again, I just want to say I appreciate, Martha, you and your team's hard work on the character education component throughout the district, whether it be career at our secondary or whether it be Great Expectations. And then the again, if Tomball does something, we do it all the way, all the model schools for Great Expectations. So that's absolutely fantastic, all the way from our EEA all the way up. So wonderful.
Only one in the nation.
And you know, we've been doing this before the state required character
Yes.
education.
Absolutely.
And we've been refining it, and I appreciate that. I believe you and Lee Wright kind of piloted the first Great Expectations. Is that right?
He was one of the early adopters. I asked 3 principals to take a little road trip
Okay.
up the road to see a district that I had implemented it in years before.
Yeah.
And Lee was the first one to say, I'm in.
Yeah.
And he did a tremendous job and has continued being a huge champion. As a matter of fact, he serves on the National GE Board, and I'm very proud of that. I knew Charlie Holler, who was a founder of Great Expectations, and he would be very proud of this district and all that we have done for our students regarding character education. It was his belief that we can build better sense of community through true character education.
Well, I mean, and you know, citizenship is extremely important, and that's what, you know, last night we had our athletes in front of us, and one really stood out based on their coach, you know, talking about Peach and how much of her sportsmanship, and I think those are the type of stories. While I love us going to state. And we're rooting for everybody on Saturday, hearing
Yes, we
that our students are good citizens and good sportsmen. That to me is hey, we've checked in a box.
Yeah.
We're checking a box.
I agree with you. It was exciting on Saturday night when the boys, and we wish them well, of course, on Saturday, but as the whole community that was there waited for these boys to come out. Amanda, you were there. These big boys come up and they're hugging on everyone. They're super sweaty and they're it was just a great sense of like a huge family, a community family, and those boys were so proud and so excited to see people there cheering them on, as many of you have throughout the season and many other sports. But you're right. It's all about, I'm proud of our athletic department because it's not just win the games. It's teach the important thing of
Right.
It's not the win, the loss. It's how you operate as a team.
Right.
And make sure they're strong in academics as well.
Absolutely.
Well,
That's like number one.
Well, in a conference last year, it wasn't Great Expectations, but Zig Ziglar, one of the main speakers, spoke about character and how it changes an atmosphere at the
Exactly.
school and stuff. It was very impactful.
Yeah.
The character of a person tells you a
lot.
lot, of course. We see that very often.
A motion has been made and it has been seconded. All those in favor of this item, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item I, approve an order authorizing the issuance, sale, and delivery of Tomball Independent School District Unlimited Tax School Building Bonds, Series 2025, setting certain parameters for the bonds, authorizing a pricing officer to approve the terms thereof, levying a tax, and providing for the security and payment of such bonds, and enacting other provisions relating thereto. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion was made by Mr. McStravick, seconded by Mrs. Bass. Are there any questions for the superintendent regarding this item before I open the floor for discussion? Hearing none, is there any discussion by the board for the board? Hearing none, a motion has been made and it has been seconded. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Okay, that concludes our consent and considered agenda portion. We do not have public comment on non-agenda items. We are not planning to go into closed session. I would now like to offer the opportunity for any board members to offer comments before we head to adjournment. Open up the floor. Okay, I know we said a lot last night, so let's get to it. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Second?
Motion was made by Mr. White, seconded by Mr. McStravick. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. The time is now 6:43 p.m. Central.